What if the strongest man who ever lived was also the loneliest? He could kill a lion with his bare hands. He could defeat 1,000 soldiers with a single bone. He could tear city gates from their posts and carry them up a mountain. But he could not find what his heart was searching for. This is the story of Samson, a man set apart before birth, blessed with impossible strength, and yet broken by the one thing he could never conquer, his desperate need to be known. You will witness his rise, you will watch him fall, and you will see something in his story that might feel uncomfortably familiar. Because this isn't just an ancient tale. It's about every person who has ever made the same mistake twice. Every heart that trusted the wrong person. Every soul that wandered so far they forgot who they were. Stay with us until the end, because the final scene carries a truth that could change how you see your own failures forever. If this story speaks to you, please like, share, and subscribe to ARC Films. It means the world to us. Now, let's begin.
She had prayed for a child every night for years. Every month, she hoped. Every month, nothing. In the village of Zorah, she watched other women raise sons and daughters while her arms stayed empty. One afternoon at the well, a young mother bounced a baby on her hip and noticed her staring. "You're lucky," the woman said. "No crying keeping you up all night." She smiled and said nothing. But that evening, alone in the fields outside the village, she fell to her knees. She had no more words, no more prayers, only tears. Then the light came. An angel stood before her, radiant, blinding. She pressed her face to the ground.
"You are barren and childless, but you will conceive and give birth to a son. No razor shall ever touch his head. He will be set apart to God from the womb. And he will begin to deliver Israel from the Philistines."
Deliver Israel. For 40 years, the Philistines had ruled over her people with an iron hand. Now God was answering two prayers at once, a mother's cry and a nation's. Months later, she held a baby boy in her arms. They named him Samson. As he grew, the Lord blessed him with unusual strength. But blessing did not mean belonging. By the time he was 10, other children kept their distance. He was too strong, too different. When he played, things broke. When he got angry, even the adults stepped back. One evening, she found him sitting alone on a hillside, watching the other boys from far away.
Why can't I be like them?
She sat beside him and took his hands, the hands everyone else feared.
Do you know how many years I prayed for you? You are not a mistake. You are my answered prayer. Whatever happens, never forget that.
She held him until the stars came out. And for a moment, he believed her. As a young man, Samson traveled to the Philistine town of Timnah. There, in the marketplace, he saw a woman who stopped him cold. She was beautiful, but that wasn't what held him. When their eyes met, she didn't look away. She didn't flinch. She smiled. No one had ever looked at him like that. He returned home and told his parents he wanted to marry her. His father, Manoah, was stunned.
"A Philistine? Isn't there a woman among our own people? Why must you go to the enemy for a wife?"
She's the right one for me. Get her for me.
His parents didn't understand. But something was stirring beneath the surface. The Lord was preparing to move against the Philistines, and it would begin with Samson's heart. Days later, Samson and his parents set out for Timnah to arrange the marriage. As they neared the town's vineyards, Samson walked ahead alone. His mind wandered to the woman, her smile, her warmth, the way she saw him instead of his strength. Then a roar split the air. A young lion burst from the trees, all muscle and teeth. It lunged at him with killing fury. The Spirit of the Lord rushed upon Samson like fire. He caught the lion mid-leap, his hands gripping its jaws. The beast thrashed and clawed, but Samson pulled and tore it apart with his bare hands. He stood over the carcass, breathing hard. His hands were trembling, not from fear, from something that frightened him more than any lion could. A power inside him he didn't fully understand. No one what happened. Not his father, not his mother. He was learning to carry his secrets alone. Sometime later, Samson returned to Timnah for the wedding. Along the way, he turned aside to see the lion's carcass. Inside it, bees had made a hive. He scooped honey from the body and ate it as he walked. He had no idea that honey would cost him everything. The wedding feast lasted 7 days, as was the custom. 30 young Philistine men were given to Samson as companions, though they were less friends than watchful strangers assigned by the town. On the first night, Samson proposed a wager.
Let me tell you a riddle. If you solve it within 7 days, I'll give you 30 linen garments and 30 sets of clothes. If you can't, you give the same to me.
The men agreed. Samson smiled. He had a riddle no one could solve, because it was based on a secret only he knew.
Out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet.
The answer was the lion he had killed and the honey he had found inside its body. No one else had seen it. No one else could possibly guess. For 3 days, the men struggled. By the 4th, desperation turned to threats. They cornered Samson's bride. They said to her, "Get the answer from your husband, or we'll burn your father's house, with you inside." That night, she came to Samson weeping.
You hate me. You don't really love me. You've given my people a riddle but won't tell me the answer.
I haven't even told my parents. Why would I tell you?
But she didn't stop. Day after day, night after night, she wept and pleaded. On the 7th day, worn down, he finally told her about the lion and the honey. She told the Philistines immediately. Before sunset, they approached him with knowing smiles.
A lion and honey from its body. That's your answer.
Samson's face went cold. There was only one way they could know.
If you hadn't plowed with my heifer, you would never have solved my riddle.
The Spirit of the Lord came upon him. He went to the city of Ashkelon, killed 30 Philistines, stripped them of their garments, and threw the clothes at the men who had cheated him. The debt was paid. But Samson couldn't bear to look at his wife. Without a word, he left Timnah and returned to his father's house, alone. But while he was gone, her father assumed Samson had abandoned her for good. He gave her to another man, the companion who had stood beside Samson at the wedding. The first woman who had looked at him without fear was gone, and Samson didn't even know it yet. Months passed. The wheat grew tall, and Samson found himself on the road to Timnah again, carrying a young goat as a gift. He told himself his anger had faded. He told himself he just wanted to see her. When he arrived at her father's house, the older man stepped into the doorway and blocked his path.
I thought you hated her. I gave her to your companion. But look, her younger sister is more beautiful. Take her instead.
Samson stared at him. First the daughter had sold his secret. Now this man had sold his daughter, and stood there offering a replacement like a merchant selling livestock.
This time, I have a right to get even with all of you.
He caught 300 foxes, tied them tail to tail in pairs, and fastened a torch between each pair. Then he released them into the Philistine fields at night. The flames spread like rivers of fire. Grain, vineyards, olive groves, everything the Philistines owned turned to smoke and ash. The sky glowed orange for miles. When the Philistines discovered who had done this, their fury turned cold. They couldn't touch Samson because he was too strong, but they could touch what he loved. They went to Timnah and dragged out the woman and her father. They burned them alive. The news reached Samson like a blade through the chest. She had given away his secret to avoid being burned. They burned her anyway. Because of him, he slaughtered every Philistine he could find. Then he walked into the wilderness and disappeared into a cave at a place called Etam. He sat alone in the darkness. The woman's face wouldn't leave him. Her laugh, her betrayal, her ashes. Word of Samson's slaughter spread quickly. The Philistines marched into the land of Judah and made camp, demanding one thing: Samson. The men of Judah were terrified, not of the Philistines, but of what refusing them might cost. 3,000 Israelites traveled to the cave at Etam where Samson was hiding. They said to him, "Don't you realize the Philistines rule over us? What have you done to us?" Samson replied, "I only did to them what they did to me."
We've come to tie you up and hand you over to them.
Samson looked at the men standing before him, his own people. 3,000 Israelites armed with ropes instead of swords, ready to deliver their strongest man to the enemy. He let them bind him with 2 new ropes. He didn't fight. He didn't resist. They led him toward the Philistine camp. When the enemy saw him bound, they rushed forward shouting, already tasting victory. Then the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him. The ropes snapped like burnt thread. He grabbed a fresh jawbone of a donkey lying on the ground and swung. When the dust settled, 1,000 Philistines lay dead around him. He stood alone among the bodies, chest heaving, jawbone still in hand. But victory brought thirst, not peace. He cried out to God.
You gave me this great victory. Must I now die of thirst?
God split open the ground and water poured out. Samson drank and lived. From that day, Samson judged Israel for 20 years. His name became legend. Young men dreamed of standing beside him in battle. Villages celebrated when he arrived and grieved when he left, but no one asked him to stay. At feasts, he would sit at the edge and watch. Families gathered around tables. Children climbed into their fathers' laps. Wives leaned against their husbands. He had saved them all. He belonged to none of them. He left that night, alone, as always. One evening, Samson visited the Philistine city of Gaza. Word spread quickly that he was there. The Philistines locked the city gates and posted guards, planning to kill him at dawn. But Samson rose at midnight. He walked to the gates, massive doors of iron and wood, and tore them from their posts. Doors, bar, hinges, everything. He carried them on his shoulders to the top of a hill miles away and left them there. They tried to cage him. He carried their cage into the night. But some cages are not made of iron. They are made of silence, of empty rooms, of being known by everyone and understood by no one. He had been born to deliver Israel. He had done that. So why did he still feel like he was waiting for something? Then he met Delilah. She lived in the valley of Sorek. The first time they spoke, she noticed a scar on his forearm. The one from the lion, the one no one ever asked about.
This must have a story.
He looked at her. No fear in her eyes. No awe. Just curiosity. Just warmth. For the first time in 20 years, he wondered if this was what he had been waiting for. Maybe she was the answer to a prayer he didn't know he was praying. He didn't know that the rulers of the Philistines had come to her in secret. 5 men, each offering 1,100 pieces of silver.
Find out the source of his great strength. Tell us how we can overpower him, and the silver is yours.
She looked at the fortune on the table. She thought of Samson, his gentleness with her, his trust. Then she thought of the silver again.
I'll find out.
That night she curled against him and asked where his strength came from. He laughed and lied. He answered, fresh bowstrings. She bound him while he slept. Philistine soldiers hid in the room. She called out that the Philistines were upon him. He snapped the cords like thread. She asked again where his strength comes from. New ropes, he said. She bound him. He broke free. She tied once more. Weave my hair into the loom, Samson answered. She did. He tore it loose. 3 times she had called the enemy into her bedroom. 3 times he had escaped. A wiser man would have seen the pattern, but Samson didn't want wisdom. He wanted love. Her approach changed. She grew distant, cold. Then came the tears.
How can you say you love me when you won't trust me? 3 times you've made a fool of me. You don't really love me at all.
Day after day, she pressed him. Night after night, the same accusations. He was tired, so tired of carrying secrets alone. Finally, he told her everything.
No razor has ever touched my head. I have been set apart to God since birth. If my hair is shaved, my strength will leave me.
That night, she cradled his head in her lap and stroked his hair until he fell asleep. A man with a razor stepped from the shadows. One by one, the 7 braids fell to the floor.
Samson, the Philistines are coming for you.
He woke and thought he would shake himself free as before. But his arms felt like water. The strength was gone. He didn't know the Lord had left him. The Philistines seized him. They held him down and gouged out his eyes. The world went black, and it would stay black forever. They dragged him to Gaza in chains. The strongest man in Israel could not see the road beneath his feet. They bound him with bronze shackles and set him to work grinding grain. Round and round he walked, pushing the millstone like an animal. The champion of Israel, reduced to livestock, he learned to live in darkness. He navigated by sound, the drip of water, the shuffle of sandals, the creak of the iron door. He ate by touch, tasting grit and dirt and things he tried not to name. But the worst part was not the darkness outside. It was the silence inside, the place where God's Spirit used to be. One afternoon, children gathered near his cell. They threw pebbles through the bars and laughed at the blind giant stumbling in circles. A boy's voice rose above the rest.
My father says you used to be strong. Now you're nothing but a monster.
Monster. The same word whispered about him in his village as a child, the same fear in the same young voice. He had become what they always thought he was. That night, his mother's face came to him, not as a memory, as a presence. He could feel her hands holding his. He could hear her voice from that evening on the hillside. You are my answered prayer, whatever happens. Never forget that. Then something shifted. The cold felt less cold. The silence felt less empty. And quietly, unnoticed by anyone, his hair began to grow back. The Philistines gathered to celebrate. The temple of Dagon overflowed. Rulers, soldiers, citizens. 3,000 more crowded onto the roof. They had come to honor their God and rejoice over their greatest victory.
Our God has delivered Samson into our hands, the destroyer of our land, captured at last.
When they were drunk with triumph, someone shouted what everyone was thinking.
Bring out Samson. Let him entertain us.
They dragged him from the prison, blind, thin, stumbling. A servant boy led him by the hand through the roaring crowd. They spat at his feet. They mocked his weakness, the mighty champion of Israel, now a broken toy for their amusement. When they finished with him, they stood him between the two central pillars that held up the temple. Samson spoke quietly to the boy.
Put me where I can feel the pillars. Let me lean against them.
The boy guided his hands to the cold stone, one pillar on his right, one on his left. Above him, 3,000 voices laughed and cheered. He felt the stone beneath his palms, and for a moment he hesitated. What right did he have to ask God for anything? But his mother's voice returned, soft, steady, unshakable. Whatever happens, never forget. He bowed his head.
Sovereign Lord, remember me. Strengthen me just once more.
Silence. The crowd roared. The pillars stood cold and immovable. Then, warmth. Deep in his chest, spreading through his arms, filling the emptiness.
Let me die with the Philistines.
He pushed. The pillars cracked. The laughter stopped. The screams began. The roof collapsed. The walls crumbled. 3,000 Philistines buried under an avalanche of stone. Samson died with them. He killed more in his death than in all his years of life. When the dust settled, his brothers came. They carried his body home and buried him in his father's tomb between Zorah and Eshtaol. He had judged Israel for 20 years, and in the end, the boy his mother called an answered prayer became one.
Samson's story leaves us with truths we cannot ignore. That strength without love is just loneliness wearing armor. That the people we trust the most can wound us the deepest, and we might let them simply because we're tired of being alone. That we will repeat the same mistakes until we finally see the pattern we've been blind to. But most importantly, that no matter how far we fall, no matter how many vows we break, no matter how much we lose, God still remembers. And one honest prayer, even whispered in chains, is enough. You are not your worst mistake. You are not too far gone. You are someone's answered prayer, and it is never too late to cry out to God again. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to ARC Films. Together, we can bring more stories like this to the world.